All right. Practices, we're getting there. Now, I'm ready for a game. We have seen now 10 days of training camp, which is very exciting. We've seen a lot of great storylines come out of training camp, but I'm ready for these guys to go full on pads, and we have our preseason game against the Titans this week.
Cannot wait. Levi's lit.
We're getting Levi's lit on Thursday.
I'm excited for the fireworks. I'm excited for the runouts. I'm excited for the fans. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. You guys, welcome back to the Saloon, presented by Cisco. Aubrey and I are going to break down block 3 of training camp. That's days 7 through 10. We're making our way there. Mm-hmm. We're also going to give you guys a little preview of the Titans game coming up this Thursday and a little snippet of 8-7 day, which we got to experience this past Thursday. Mm-hmm. So let's jump into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But before we jump into it, let's talk about the roster moves. Some things have happened throughout this past few days. We have signed wide receiver Kadero Hodge, defensive lineman Obo Okoronkwo. Want to make sure I get that one right.
Yep.
I saw a reporter say that we might sprain our tongues saying his name, Osa Odigizua, and Sam Okuwanu.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. There we go, spraining my tongue. So keep your eyes out for him. We also signed offensive lineman Keon Smith to a 1-year deal and offensive lineman Doug Kramer Jr. to a 1-year deal as well. So new guys, new faces in the place over here and on the field. So it's been really interesting to watch how things have unfolded these past few days.
Yeah, we've had some guys go down. We've picked up some guys because of that. And it's, just kind of business as usual. Next man up is kind of what it's always been here. Yeah. We saw that a lot with our tight ends last year when George went down. We had great seasons from Tonjes. So it's always kind of been that mentality, and that's what you're seeing early on in training camp. And we're excited to see these guys take the field on Thursday.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just, everyone practicing and, competing for that spot. So, that cut is going to come sooner than you think. And I'm excited to see it, shake out with the 90-man currently in these next few games that we're going to see for the preseason. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about the main storylines we've seen from days 7 through 10. I think the biggest storyline of training camp has just been that secondary.
Yeah.
It really has. And it's been really cool to see with our 2 eyes out there on the field every day. So I decided, I think we should just go through day by day, the past few days of our stats, because there's so many stars that have made such great plays. And I think it's the best way to show you guys, of really bring you guys along of what training camp has been like for that secondary. So day 7, we had Jack Jones with a one-handed interception and had the play of the day with a pass breakup, which deflected so nicely into Jaden Duggar's hands, who ran it in for what would have been a pick 6. Jair Brown with the pass breakup, as well as Upson Stout with a pass breakup and almost interception during one-on-ones.
It's like every time I hear these guys' names, I go, yeah, he could be our starter.
Right.
Oh, no, he could be our starter. It is just so incredible, the talent that there has been in that DB position, that safety position as well. Really exciting stuff.
Let's continue through it. Day 8, Renardo Green, another guy that I have not mentioned yet, with an interception. Jack Jones, again with an interception.
Could be.
Right?
Yep.
Starter?
Yeah.
Starter. Upton Stout with a pass breakup. Jair Brown with a forced fumble. And then day 9, we have not talked about Nate Hobbs yet. But Nate Hobbs had an outstanding day on day 9. All right, you ready? 4 pass breakups / forced incompletions, a forced punch out, a near interception during red zone work, and just the energy that he brought that day. Oh my gosh, it was so exciting to see.
They are all feeding off of each other. They are all making each other so good. And it, as much as it is a competition, I see them all, stoked for one another. And after they make big plays, it's very, very cool to see the tightness of that of that position group.
I mean, it's that energy. They just gel really well. And when you get that energy, like, oh yeah, the next guy up is going to do the same thing. And I think everyone's catching on to it. Like I mentioned last podcast, that Ephesian Price Stocks even had a few, he's a rookie here, but he's had a few great days himself and a few great plays himself as well. Delador Lenore on day 9 also had what would have been a pick 6. And then Stout and Jack Jones, once again, with massive diving pass breakups.
Yes. Can we talk about Raheem and his nickname for Jack Jones?
Jack. Raheem came to a press conference after a practice one day, and he was speaking on Jack Jones and kept referring to him as Jack
Jack.
as his little nickname for him. And I just was joking with Aubrey about Jack reminds me of The Incredibles' little baby, with its hair on fire. And that is Jack Jones. I think Jack Jones is like,
a
hair
menace,
on fire.
Literally a menace.
Yes.
Yeah. And I could see Jack being like that for sure.
And like the key word I keep going back to for the secondary is that like sticky secondary. I think it's like the word of the day here at 4949. Word of the week, word of training camp, sticky is that sticky secondary. And when I think of a baby, I think of sticky.
That is so true. Oh my God, babies are so sticky.
They are sticky.
I don't have any of my own, but I know how sticky they can be.
I feel like, they fuck out their hands in peanut butter, whatever they do to get that way.
But I can't
Jones.
think that this secondary, these DBs are having the camp they're having because of their new leader in Raheem Morris. And every time one of those DBs steps on the podium to address the media, they say the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's that Raheem's scheme is, I like that, Raheem's scheme is allowing them to play fearlessly. Mm-hmm. They're not really overthinking. They are reacting. And we're really seeing it play out on the field. Yeah. And I just love that these guys are really buying into Raheem because he's a veteran coach. It's not like he's, some rookie coming up trying to shake things up. His scheme is tried and true.
Mm-hmm. And then as well, on top of that note too, I think what's been super interesting, it's not only the defensive players that keep reiterating that and echoing that, but also the offensive players saying that. And so although it might seem repetitive to us and we're in these, in the training camp every day, in the middle of it all every day, in the press conferences, I think the coolest storyline out of this is like, it is the same storyline on both sides of the ball. We have not heard it be different from any other side of everyone loving Raheem's scheme.
Yeah. And so that was what we heard from Mac Jones too.
Yep.
He said, my job has gotten significantly harder because of how sticky these guys are.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's what, you're talking about, seeing it from both an offensive and a defensive standpoint.
Yeah.
The defensive guys are looking great and the offense is noticing it as well.
Yeah.
Really, really exciting.
Yeah. I just wanted to also note with Morris praising Jack Jones. He also spoke on Upton Stout and said he can play linebacker, he can play safety, he can play corner, he can rush the passer, he's good in man coverage, he's good in zone. And then he said that, he's just one of those highly competitive men, and he just stays angry every single day. Yeah. And I love that. That's like playing with your hair on fire. I think that's also my word of the day today is going to be my phrase of the day, hair on fire, because that is that secondary playing out there. And on Mac Jones as well, he did basically confirm from the quarterback side that this DB room does feel different this year. He said more plays are being made on the ball this year than expected. And I think that's all because credit to Raheem. Mm-hmm,
absolutely. And speaking of Stout too, on Monday, for Monday's practice, we saw some really fun one-on-ones with Stout and DeMarcus Robinson. Now, it's very similar. So DeMarcus Robinson has had a great career. He's in his 11th year. He's a veteran guy. He has been here before. He's in his second year with the Niners. And Stout is a second year guy, so he's pretty early in his career. And we watched those two battle in one-on-ones on Monday. Mm-hmm. And it's just the one-on-one session before team drills is always just kind of, it's like a warm-up, right? It's kind of, you're a little bit, but it's one of the most exciting pieces of practice where it's a lot of action and it's only for a short amount of time. It's like maybe like 8 minutes, I think.
I mean, what you get in 11-on-11 is you see the whole play, right? Yeah. It's a lot more of what you're going to see on a Thursday at Levi Stadium. But these one-on-ones are really interesting because you can see you're focused on one thing, right? Yeah. And that is
wide receiver versus DB. Or wide receiver versus corner.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And what's really cool about that is on both sides, you can either see the receiver create that separation or you're watching the tracking that the DB is doing, right? Mm-hmm. The defensive people are doing. So I think it's more of a zoned in image of it. And,
it is.
Even though it does happen so quickly and we only get so many of them, I actually thoroughly enjoy watching those. And then it's cool to see then when you take it into 11-on-11s, for example, today Upton Stout, took a great one-on-one session, translated that over into the 11 on 11s, and then we saw him with a few takeaways.
So
today.
with one-on-ones, usually you'll have a receiver go against a DB, go against a corner, and they're kind of mixing it up, right? Whoever you kind of get drawn with, you go to the back of the line, you come back, and you go. But today, or on Monday, we saw that it was Stout and it was DeMarcus Robinson every play. Yeah. It's like it's like they said that day, we are going to go head to head here, and we saw three great battles, great battles between them.
And then it continued on.
That's right. So DeMarcus, play one, had a great catch from Brock. It was a perfectly placed high catch over Stout's head a bit. And DeMarcus Robinson came down with a great catch. And then Stout on the next play, again, we talk about being sticky, just a short pass. He was just on DeMarcus the entire play, threw a hand out in front at the last second and broke up a pass. Great. And then later on the final play, there was a great one-on-one kind of in the corner of the end zone. Each player was kind of trying to get in position, and it ultimately was Stout to step in front and come up with an interception. And then again, right after that whistle blows, we go straight into team drills, and we get to see the same thing with other DBs and other corners. And just we talked about one of the best storylines kind of training camp has been the cornerbacks, has been the DBs, but it's also been the receivers. We've seen,
I was going to say, on the flip of that, the receivers has been something to definitely keep your eye on. I don't think that's any new news, but just given this past block, we had Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, who has not been playing, but Jacob Cowling, Deshaun Stribling all missed or had limited portions of this past block 4 days of training camp, which gave opportunity for our younger guys or just guys that were behind those bigger guys to step up and have more opportunity to play in here. I think one that really stood out to me was Jordan Watkins. And similarly to the secondary, I think every day we see someone big step up into a big star role that day for this group, right? On day 7, for me, it was Jordan Watkins. He had 5 catches, a touchdown from Mac, and then a deep touchdown from Purdy. Day 8 for me was Malik Turner. He was perfect, 3 for 3. And then this one's a little bit different that I think it was unexpected and was really cool to see. But day 9, Trenton Irwin on Saturday had one of the best days of training camp, even mixed in with the first stringers a little bit there too. And with Trenton, he actually signed with the 49ers just about a week ago. He is a vet, 7 years in the league, had majority of his time spent with the Bengals, had stops with the Panthers, Jags, and most recently the Jets. So it's just interesting to see how this is going to shake out again with their preseason game coming up. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of competition there, and you just never know. So 3 of those guys definitely keep your eye on. And then obviously seeing Deebo Samuel Sr. in the mix is always fun to watch, but it's cool because we see him having handoffs, pitches, receptions. Like, it's not just the typical wide receiver plays that we see. Like, he's doing a lot. And
absolutely,
just like Raheem Morris had said, like, he is that ultimate chess piece. And it's really cool to watch. I mean, he has these bright green cleats on, which I keep bringing up, but it's awesome for us because we were out there like trying to see who's doing what. And then
I know everyone's jerseys are all folded up now, so we're like,
can't see the number.
What number is that? Is that a 9? Is that an 8?
Deebo, he's got these green cleats, so you just see him like, whoosh, and you're like, oh, there goes Deebo. So that was great. Yeah, the 9, the 8.
And that's exactly what the 49ers knew when they re-signed Deebo.
Yeah.
They were looking to fit him into how he fit into this offense before the Commanders.
Yeah, and obviously it's a little bit a different of a room, but still using him that same way. And then just on today, which was day 10, this Monday, he had a pass. Purdy threaded a pass right through multiple defenders, and he came down with it, took it towards the end zone. And just like I said, Raheem's been calling the ultimate chess piece, and we just kept seeing that over and over again, especially today. But I do want to talk about today, as in Monday. One of the anchors on this wide receiver room is DeMarcus Robinson, and he had a really great day on Monday. He was really active in one-on-ones. Again, we mentioned him with Upton Stout.
Yep.
He carried that into the team. He caught a ball from Mac Jones and then became one of Purdy's most frequent targets late in practice. Yep. He had this one play that was right in front of me from Purdy, deep ball down left, and ran it into the end zone.
We don't like to talk about first strings because you have no idea what that even looks like, if that is even a first string. But when Brock comes in and when Trent comes in and then Fred kind of, you go, okay, you're kind of looking at, they're at least looking, right? Yeah. They're at least doing looks. And what the receivers that we saw in those slots were Demarcus Robinson and
today or on Monday.
On Monday, Demarcus Robinson and Deshaun Stribling. Those were the two we saw in there.
So speaking of Deshaun Stribling, I did mention that he was out earlier. He kind of progressed through this last training camp block. Started with some tightness in his hamstring. Then went to individual workouts, and then we saw him full teamwork by day 9, which was this past Saturday. And then today on Monday, on day 10, we saw him as well. Mac Jones actually calls him the Flying Hawaiian, and I thought that was phenomenal. Just because obviously he's from Hawaii and he's got that speed, he's got that, wide receiver build that, Mac's looking for. It's a really easy target.
They're built like Fortnite characters. Like if I don't watch Fortnite, I don't play Fortnite.
Are you playing Fortnite?
I can't even tell you the last time I even played a video game. But like that, like iconic,
I know what you're
look
talking
of
about.
A Fortnite player.
It's
like
tall,
that's what
skinny,
they're built like.
Yes,
They're built like that, and it's crazy.
The Flying Hawaiian.
The Flying Hawaiian. All these nicknames coming out of.
I love it. Jack. Flying Hawaiian. I think we should put like a Hawaiian
what was Purdy's? The Layer King? The Layer King.
Layered King. But all to that point being said, with Stribling and just Mac on these new receivers in the room, not necessarily new, but guys that are getting more opportunities. I think Mac's larger point was that these wide receivers are getting valuable reps in a really complex offense we have here at the 49ers, which is going to be really important come season and preseason and all the things ahead. Yeah. So, it's been really interesting to see. I was laughing thinking about this, but it's like almost like a musical chairs with the receivers. And I find that I'm giving a lot of credit to the quarterbacks too, as well, like with Mac and Purdy both adjusting, and Curtis and Martinez too, like all stepping in and adjusting to these new quarterbacks or new receivers on the other end of the ball. You got to give them a lot of kudos too. So it's been interesting to see. We also mentioned a little bit about how with the wide receiver groups being out, like the main guys being out, with the running backs on Monday we had Christian McCaffrey being out. We also have not seen Kalen Black play in the last few days. So we have also seen a lot of other running backs step up into this offensive scheme. Patrick Taylor Jr. has been having a great day. Sincere McCormick, Khalil Herbert. He was an addition this past, most recently, I think it was in the last week or so. But just seeing them out on the field and getting more reps in is also really interesting and really good opportunities for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. They're getting a lot of reps right now.
They are. Now, talking about maybe some of our guys that are getting healthy and some injury updates. I know that's always topic of mind for all these reporters.
Especially going into preseason games.
Going into preseason games, yes. But on the plus side of this, we've had a lot of returns this past block. We had Dre Greenlaw come back. He was full team by day 9. Deshaun Stribling came back, like I said, day 9. Osa Odigizua had a little bit of soreness. He returned day 8. Sambo, he left early on day 7 of training camp, and then came back full the next day. Grayson Holland, we have not seen. He's a rookie out here. We have not seen him. He had a knee bone bruise. And he returned day 7, so that was cool to see him this past block. And as well as Carver Willis, had a few days off with a concussion. He was back today in full team work.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
They're coming back.
I
know. They talk about soreness, and when I was coming out, I played softball, Division II. Played Division II softball.
Yeah,
and when I was coming out of summer, those first few practices,
it's
you
tough.
get sore.
Yeah.
As much as these guys worked out much more than I did.
I can't really contribute to that. I'm like, what's it called? The group, what do they call them? When it's like co-ed, you're doing
club?
No, it wasn't even club. It wasn't even that big. Anyways, it was my
beer league
something
softball.
Like that. My beer league, volleyball league, soccer league, whatever it was that I was doing.
Yeah.
But anyways, I got sore from that, so I don't blame them. But I do think this is a really important call out because, for example, like today, CMC was out with on Monday with soreness. We also haven't seen Nick Bosa, Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, Kyle Juszczyk, Malik Mustafa, and then Kalen Black, all these other guys that we have not seen back. But it is really important that Forrester said this. He said, you have to always be careful that reps in July don't take away from reps in January. And then he mentioned like Trent, he is on a rep count. CMC, he's on a rep count. So, watching those things, like everything is calculated. Everything, is very by design. And if they need a rest day, they need a rest day because, again, you don't want to take away reps in July for a preseason game versus January. Say we're making a post-season deep run. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, even preseason games, you count those, reps twice as much,
Right. And obviously they're important to see the state of the roster and for the rookies and whatnot. But, taking day by day and with a grain of salt. So another really exciting storyline that came out of this block. Kyle Shanahan spoke for the first time this camp to the media, his first media availability after being away while recovering from his accident. And some important notes that came out of that. He said that he's been watching film every day just so he's staying connected and, he knows what's going on at practice. Even though he is out there at the start of this camp, he was coming in with a few minutes here and there at practice, and then he would go inside, a few minutes here and there, and then go back inside. But we've been seeing him out there a lot longer than typical, and it's good to see him making that recovery back. And he also said that he feels that this team came into camp in a better spot than they did last year. Still emphasize that there's plenty of work to do, but I still think that speaks volumes from someone who's still watching all the film and all the things, and he's watching with a bird's eye view, if you will.
Yeah.
And then he gave a lot of credit to the people who helped support him, the coaching staff and the performance staff. Said that, look, our guys are awesome, and we have a pretty well-oiled machine, and this is exactly what it showed.
Yeah.
So I thought that was all really cool. And then he also touched on just Ricky Pearsall being lost for the season, obviously how significant of a loss that was, but then how it creates opportunities for that wide receiver room.
Mm-hmm. It was good. It was good to see him back.
Mm-hmm. He's got a mustache. He's got a mustache.
He's got a mustache. That's right.
Apparently, he actually has this mustache that he grows throughout the offseason, and he always shaves it before training camp. And his friends always tell him and nag him on, hey, you got to keep it, you got to keep it. So this is the first time he's keeping it on. He did say the mustache might come off soon, but if you guys want to check it out, his press conference is on our site, and he does have his mustache.
Yeah.
But always good to see him in the building.
Yes.
So
he's been here, and he's basically been on PUP, we'll say, has limited reps in there. He's getting there, but excited to see him, in full force, and hoping that he'll be ready to go by our not home opener, by week 1 in Australia.
I think he's day by day. He definitely emphasized that he's going to be day by day. So everything is up in the air when it comes to that, but excited to see how this shakes out. By the time you guys are watching this, the 49ers and Tennessee Titans would have already had our joint practice here at the SAP Performance Facility. But Thursday night, we do have a game at Levi's Stadium with the Tennessee Titans. So before we head out there, Aubrey and I are going to give our breakdown of what you guys should watch, the storylines, and what we're looking for. I also spoke to Tennessee Titans senior writer Jim Wyatt. So take a look at this one-on-one.
Passing touchdowns, his completion percentage was better. Now he has so many new faces around him, from Carnell Tate, the team's 4th overall pick, to Wan'Dale Robinson, who they signed the offseason, who's going to catch a lot of balls this year. They got a reshaped offensive line. I think Cam just needs to get comfortable with these guys in camp and kind of hit the ground running when the team opens the season against the Jets on September the 13th. I think I'm right about that. So Cam has looked good. I think he has early this offseason, he was adjusting to a lot of the newness. I think now he's comfortable, and I'm anxious to see how he's going to do out here in these next couple of days. Not only the joint practice, but in the game, his limited playing time on Thursday night.
Right, exactly. So here behind us, and I know that you mentioned too as well these rookies that came in. You guys had great 2 first-round picks coming in here, and new faces that he's learning how to adjust to. Can you speak on what those new talent and adjustments have made for your team?
Well, Tate has made the biggest improvement. I've seen a lot of rookies, even if their first-round picks come in and struggle early, he has not struggled early. Now, he was one of the stars of the offseason. He made some spectacular catches, but he's just been steady. He's coming out for practice in Nashville on Sunday when he caught 3 touchdown passes in the red zone period. He's got a great rapport with Cam Ward already. Kedrick Falk, the other first-rounder you mentioned, he's finding his way. They've got some other guys, from Anthony Hill, a linebacker who I think has a chance to make an impact early, to Nick Singleton, a running back who I think is trying to make a name for himself early on. They've got some young faces that are adjusting well with veterans around them, and I think there's reason for people to be excited about it.
Football is here. We're excited for Thursday, excited to get back into the stadium and see him here. But let's talk about today, joint practice. What matchups are you specifically excited to watch? For me, I think it's that secondary going against your guys. We keep seeing, our own team going against our own team. It's going to be exciting to see some other pads out there on the field, but what are you looking for specifically?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's hard to tell when these guys by this time in camp know what the other guys are doing. They know a lot of their moves. They know what to look for now. It's different when you're going up against another team. I think Carnell Tate, I feel like I'm talking about him all the time because he's been that good. Now he gets his real test against a good 49ers defense that will they've probably heard some of the Carnell Tate buzz coming out of Nashville too. They'll probably want to shut him down. I think the Titans, have got a reshaped secondary themselves with Alontae Taylor and Cordell Flott, two outside corners who people are looking kind of change the feel on defense. I'm looking to see how those guys do against the 49ers receivers, and I think up front, I think the biggest question mark for the Titans this season is the offensive line. 3 of the starters are set, but the starting center and the starting right guard are still kind of to be determined. Yeah. A lot of people are skeptical about how they are going to do, and this is a great test.
It is a great test. A lot of questions that we need to answer before week 1. It's really great to see the guys out here because you can see a little bit of that,
yes.
Get a little more answers under your belt here. But thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing the 49ers and Titans joint practice today, and looking forward to Thursday night at Levi's Stadium.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Biggest storyline that was definitely scripted by the football gods.
It had to be. It had to be. Robert Saleh returns to Levi's. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's a familiar face around here at Levi's Stadium, but this time he returns as the Tennessee Titans head coach.
That's right. Our defensive coordinator. Last year, we saw our defense take a big step up last year with him back at the helm, and now the head coach for the Tennessee Titans and, leading his team.
Yeah, and him and Kyle Shanahan actually have an extensive history and extensive past. He was the 49ers defensive coordinator from 2017 through 2020, which included a Super Bowl run. Mm-hmm. And then as well as, back here in 2025. So, and their actual history goes even further than that. They were both on the Texans staff together earlier in their careers back in 2006.
That's right. That's always been this big storyline. Right. Like the Texans had a staff that was just packed, and so did the Commanders at one point. Yeah. And now you just kind of see all these guys branch out and just make their own way in their respective organizations. Yeah. And there's so much history between Saleh and Kyle Shanahan. Much. And
this team too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think? How weird, or what is the vibe it's going to be when Kyle is going to look across the field from Saleh running on the other team now,
Yeah, I mean, he's seen it before, right? Yeah. He did have a year with the Jets before he came back to the 49ers and now leaves. But I think ultimately they're just two competitors, and they're going to be able to kind of put it aside. Yeah. But at the end of the game, they will probably be the first handshake. Right?
I think it's gonna be a hug. I'm gonna go here and say it's gonna be a hug. Mm-hmm.
If they could
I'm looking forward for those photos.
If they could do a jersey swap, they would.
I love that. There are a lot of players on the team that actually do have connections. So I'm interested to see the jersey swaps at the end of the game as well. Yeah. But another big storyline heading into this game is Cam Ward, the Tennessee Titans quarterback. He's entering year 2. He was a rookie last season, and he actually was the number 1 overall pick in 2025. So obviously a big stat that's going to stand out to you on paper. And
he had a great year. Great rookie year. Yeah.
I also wanted to say his last final 9 games of his rookie season, just last year, he threw 10 touchdown passes with just 1 interception, and also for himself added 2 rushing touchdowns, which is a phenomenal stat to have.
One of those games.
And one of those games happened to be the 49ers. Yeah. It actually was my second game here, so that was really interesting to see, really cool. We actually came out with the win. We won that game 37-24. Brock Purdy threw for 295 yards and 3 touchdowns. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see. Everyone always talks about with rookies, right? Your rookie year and then stepping into year 2, that transition and what you develop to be in that. So I think it's going to be really interesting to watch Cam Ward in this game.
Actually, Dominic Puny said that on Monday in a press conference, in the post-practice press conference, that he after having a really great rookie year, he was like, everything was working. I mean, why would I change? Why would I have to listen to my coaches to change some things when everything is working? And then he gets to year 2 and he goes, oh. I see. Yeah. When guys actually have tape on you, it gets a little bit more difficult.
A little bit more difficult. It's exactly true. And I think what's also really interesting about that, those last 9 games only threw 1 interception.
Yeah.
But our 49ers secondary over here has been blowing up a storm with interceptions and pass breakups and takeaways. So I think it's going to be really interesting to watch how the 49ers secondary is going to react in this game.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's a positive thing that's going to come out here. We're going to come up here in the next Saloon and talk about how many takeaways we had. But just really interesting to watch, obviously, with the rookie quarterback now entering year 2 is always a very interesting storyline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, I already talked about the last time that we met with the December game. So it's almost like a rematch here. It wasn't too long ago because it was less than a year.
Yeah. Big changes in rosters, though.
Big changes in rosters. And you also never know who you're actually going to see on the field with our big starters and big stars on that team, et cetera. But another rookie I did want to talk about on the Tennessee Titans, they had 2 first-round draft picks this year, but the one that I want to talk about was wide receiver Carnell Tate. I think 49ers should definitely know about this guy right now because he was the number 4 overall pick in this year's draft. And in his final college season, he had 51 catches for 875 yards. So I think that he could be a legitimate downfield threat here come Thursday night. And again, it just kind of gives our secondary another chance to show what they've been working on and what they've been working on under Raheem's scheme.
Yeah. Raheem Scheme. That's going to be the name of the podcast.
I love it.
Episode.
Raheem Scheme.
Raheem Scheme.
Look out for it. I also did want to mention, I did say there's 2 first-round picks, so have to mention him as well. So Tennessee also used another first-round pick on defensive lineman Keldrick Falk. A lot of talent on that team, younger talent on that team to keep your eye on. So Thursday night will be interesting.
Yeah, and a great head coach, too.
A very great head coach. With our great head coach. So I like to see that battle. But as for things that we are watching Thursday, obviously we're talking secondary. We've loved this group. Jack Jones, Upton Stout, Nate Hobbs, Renardo Green, Domino Lenore. They've been all of the talk at camp. So keep your eyes out for that and really what they're going to do. It's a very different layout when you're at a stadium filled with fans on a Thursday night broadcasted versus here at training camp. Playing against your own people. So
looking forward to seeing the wide receiver group as well.
Definitely.
We should get some reps from Mac, I'm assuming, but also maybe even some from Curtis and Adrian Martinez. So
yeah, I'm excited to see that as well. And I mean, you mentioned the wide receivers. Deshaun Stribling, I think he's going to be really great. Super excited to see him. As well as Trenton Irwin. I know I mentioned him earlier. He looks like Thor. He's got this long blonde hair. So
they call him Thor.
They do call him Thor.
We were on the sideline and I heard Coach go Thor. And I'm like, who are they calling Thor?
But I wanted to say he's really fast, really strong. The way that he's running his routes, just something that I've had my eye on. Also Jordan Watkins as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jordan Watkins has had a great training camp.
But yeah, like I said again, practice. Repetition is one thing, but Thursday is really going to be the chance to just lay it all on the field and hit some guys on the other side of the ball that aren't your own teammates. So that would be really interesting. We also have a lot of young guys on our roster that are going to be battling for this camp. So a lot of guys that are going to try to get their great first reps in and then turn these reps in this game into actual roster spots, hopefully. Definitely keep your eye out for that. And then we have, obviously, our returning players who are finally going to be back under Levi's lights, like Dre Greenlaw. Excited to see him back out there with Fred.
Yeah. Fred's making his return too.
He is.
It's
and Debo.
And Debo.
You guys, it's so exciting.
I know, it's so
So obviously Thursday is something that we're all going to be watching and just excited to get out of the practice mode of training camp and get into the real deal. But yeah, lots of football to watch Thursday night.
Very excited.
Very, very excited. And a lot of familiar faces on both sides of the ball. So,
Yep.
Something we definitely want to talk about that happened this past block of training camp was 8-7 Day, which was really important to this franchise.
Yeah.
8-7 Day is a day to remember Dwight Clark. He was number 87 and his legacy and everything that he stood for and as a human as he was and as well as who he was on and off the field. And he also bravely battled ALS. So we welcome members of families that were affected with ALS out there. John Lynch spoke with them. We had a lot of alumni out. It was really good to chat with them. Brent Jones spoke. I talked to Keena Turner. Ronnie Lott was there. Anyone else I'm missing? I hear Bryant Young.
Yeah.
It was just really, really sweet. And I also wanted to note that when John Lynch spoke to the ALS members and the family members, he had a really great speech and then followed up with Brent Jones speaking. And I remember feeling really emotional. It made me tear up.
This past week was big in the organization,
Huge.
Just when it comes to legacy.
Yes.
And
that is 49ers legacy, right?
It is. It's Brent mostly harped on this when he was talking about Dwight. And it's that these guys that still are around and even some who have passed on, they started so much of what these current players see today.
Yes.
The atmosphere in the locker room. Brent Jones says that atmosphere in the locker room that we see today was came directly from Dwight.
Yes.
And that was Dwight's, when he became a veteran, he welcomed in the rookies. He brought up the rookies and made them feel at home. And it trickles down all the way from ownership.
On 8-7 day, we all, staff and alumni, got these shirts that I wanted to show you guys because everyone on our staff and everyone during 8-7 day on Thursday were wearing these, and it was really cool to see. So this is the front of it. And you know what? My bad because I didn't talk about this, but obviously Dwight Clark is known for the catch. That is what the silhouette is. And looking at this silhouette right now reminded me of this.
Yeah.
But everything that all these alumni and all his old friends spoke about him was everything beyond the catch, the impact that he had at the franchise beyond this one play that was so iconic, obviously sent 49ers to the very first Super Bowl. But regardless, he was just everything to your point of that personality on and off the field that's still translated here in this locker room today.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show you guys the shirts because it's awesome.
It's great.
And look at the back of this with him and his bright smile that he brought every single day and how hard of a worker he was. And Keena spoke a lot about that, Keena Turner. And then at the very end of my one-on-one time with him, he said, I just miss my friend.
Yeah.
And that really hit home. And then he said that, he would love today. He would be smiling just like he is on the back of this shirt, talking to all the fans, talking to all the people affected with ALS.
Yep.
And then they also spoke about how strong he was when he was diagnosed with ALS, and the type of person he was to battle through that. So even these families affected with ALS, hearing that and hearing how he was and how positive he was from, Brent and John Lynch themselves was really cool and inspiring.
Yeah.
Just special.
Gosh, to be in a room with alumni, that's like
it was awesome
to ask so many great questions
and just to
about
talk
that.
with them. And I mean, Brent Jones lives in Texas, and so he flew all the way out here for that. It's just it speaks to the character of who Dwight Clark was.
Yeah.
And speaking of flights, like you said, all the alumni after practice, after talking to all the fans and everyone out there, hopped on a flight to Canton, Ohio, to then induct their friend Roger Craig into the Hall of Fame. And we actually have a clip of his video because he had a very sweet speech.
Yeah.
And here's a little clip now.
You spend your whole life trying to prove if you belong. And then one day, you're told you're one of the all-time greats. Man, it's overwhelming. I think about that kid from Davenport who loved football. I think about the journey more than anything. The early mornings, the doubts, the sacrifices. It all led here. I want to thank the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the people of Canton who honored this game and preserve this history. To all the Hall of Famers here today, thank you for building this game, elevating it, and setting the standard for a generation that follows. It's an honor to join you. And to my teammates, the class of 26, congratulations. When I look at this class, Drew, Larry, Luke, and Adam, I see some of the greatest players to ever play this game. I retired in 1993 before any of these guys have played the NFL snap. Like so many football fans, I spend years watching and admiring what they have accomplished on the field. It's a privilege to be part of the Hall of Fame with you.
So Roger, just the biggest smile. I think he was the most excited out of everyone. I loved his speech, and it was really, really heartbreaking to hear that he had been diagnosed with vascular dementia. And it's going to be a battle, but we know he has such a strong family and group of teammates. And that also ties in to the Golden Heart Fund as well, which is a player-led organization with the 49ers to help players beyond football.
Yep.
And Dwight Clark also was an advocate for the Golden Heart Fund, and it helped him throughout his ALS journey. And you know, it's something that Roger is going to be able to lean on as well as he battles his vascular dementia.
Wishing him the best there. But yeah, he's got a great support system. So very excited. You guys, we have a lot to come. We have our preseason game opener at home against the Tennessee Titans this Thursday, as well as The Build. Episode 1 just came out, so you guys better go give it a watch. It's about a 35-minute episode of everything it takes to go into honestly training camp and season. So our team has worked really hard on this episode and on the future episodes for The Build. So definitely go give it a watch. It's a great production and a great watch.
Yep.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Saloon presented by Cisco. Make sure you tune in on SiriusXM, your favorite podcast platforms, and YouTube.
That's right. And throw on those push notifications so you know when every episode drops. You don't want to miss any part of the action.
You don't want to miss anything. And Aubrey and I are going to be giving you guys more storylines to come, so make sure you tune in. Thank you for watching.
Bye, guys.